Thank you, Vicky. Good morning. Yes, following the two speakers of the herbicides, I'm going to talk a little more about crop rotation. In the last 20-some years, you can see that the area of seeded pulses has been significantly increased. This was, of course, driven by a good price, we're using the natural nitrogen for production and also the good crop rotational benefit. What about the canola? When you look at canola, actually from 2000 to today, acreage more than doubled. So those increased acreage of pulses and oilseeds, yes, give us excellent opportunity for economical profit. The real issue is, can we grow pulses, oilseeds year after year, and what kind of crop rotation sequences should we look at to maximize rotational benefit? So when you think about crop rotation, and first we need to think about the root of the crops, because different crop has different rooting system and rooting depths. And what this picture on the left side is a lentil that grow on the no-till direct seeded field. You can see that root, yes, up down to 100 centimeter depth or 4 feet, but most of the roots, 80% of roots on the top 20 centimeter soil depths. And also the pulse roots, particularly pea and lentils, they have very thick, large diameter root. And those roots, when those roots decompose in the soil, they will release more nitrogen back to the soil compared to other crops, because those crops has a low carbon to nitrogen ratio. And when you look at this picture on the left is the pea root, and the right is wheat root. The difference is that pea and the lentil root has a large diameter, and the wheat roots has lots of fibrous roots. So when those diameter roots decompose in the field, they will leave a hole in the soil, so they increase soil water infiltration rate. And also we think that because the large diameter of those pulses, they may provide some macro tillage function to the soil, because they penetrate the soil better than a wheat root. Yes, because those shallow rooting system from pea and lentils, and most water they used in the soil profile is from the top 2 feet. When you look at this graph, and the top 2 feet, the different crops has no difference in terms of how much water they used. But below 2 feet, up to 4 feet, that's where the difference comes from between different crops. And the pea and the lentils use very little water below 2 feet. So when we think about the rotation, the first message is that we should think about rotating shallow rooting crops with deep rooting crops, so we can increase water use efficiency, because below 2 feet water has not been used by previous pulses, can be picked up by the deep rooting crops. And next, of course, we work on pulses looking at the nitrogen fixation or nodulation. And this table gives you kind of idea, look at that nodulation, how many nodules per hectare that crop can produce. When you look at those numbers, really amazing. Those peas, lentils, they can produce up to 16 million nodules per hectare. We know that nodules, their primary function is to fix nitrogen. They convert atmospheric nitrogen into plant-available nitrogen for the crop. But what we don't know is those nodules, when those nodules finish nitrogen fixation, they die in the soil. Then we'll produce more nitrogen and carbon back to the soil. So the different crops has different weight of nodules. When you look at this table, and some pea and really high have 54 kilo per hectare of dry weight of nodules. That will provide lots of nitrogen and carbon back to the soil. Another thing is we found that during nodulation, the plants actually release a gas called hydrogen. The hydrogen they released in the soil, Then they will work with the bacteria. We call that bacteria is called hydrogen oxides. So what they do is those hydrogen and the bacteria work together to produce energy. So this energy will actually stimulate the root growth. So not only the post-root, but those bacteria will stay in the soil. They will affect the next year crop that root grows. So we, in Swift Current Research Center, we isolated about 1,400 different bacteria from the soil. And we found three of them are really working very well. You can see that this top, the Petri dish is a control. On the bottom Petri dish, that's the wheat. We inoculate with hydrogen oxides bacteria that we isolated from the soil. And then they're really showing that this graph on the right, you can see the shoot weight and the root weight, both that the blue bar is the control, and then the rest bar are that shoot and root weight that on the wheat inoculated with that hydrogen oxides. So they're showing really those hydrogen oxides promote plant growth very significant. So what we learned is the post-based diversified rotation will enrich your soil, will condition the soil, improve the soil biological properties. Of course, they will increase yield and quality of subsequent crops. Now, the question is, can lentil and pea be intensified in rotation? And this question has been in the place for the last number of years. Particularly lentil have a good price. Some farmers want to grow lentil after lentils. So in Swift Current, we have 25 years of rotation. That rotation was wheat, lentil. So every another year is wheat, lentil, since 1985. So you can see this graph is that pink line is wheat yield after lentil. And the blue line is continuous wheat. And the yellow line is the lentil yield. So what is this showing? That the variation of yield is basically changed from year to year because of weather conditions. But the rotation really did not show any difference. So what we learned from this 25 years of wheat lentil rotation in Swift Current is that the wheat grow after lentil, they will produce 4% more wheat yield than a continuous wheat. And the wheat after lentil was fertilized about 32 kilo per hectare of nitrogen each year. But continuous wheat, we fertilize them at 43 kilo per hectare. So continuous wheat has 30% more nitrogen applied to the crop. Now, after 25 years of wheat lentil rotation, lentil has not seen any yield decline. And in fact, we found that wheat lentil rotation field has significant soil quality improvement. So this study showing that intensification of lentil crops in rotation is a valid option, given that you need a 1 year break wheat. As long as you need to adopt integrated crop management, that's for weed control and disease control. Now, what about the pea? Can we continue to grow pea? Well, there was a study in Indian hand since 1995. And in that study, Gila found put together with continuous pea, no break, and the wheat pea rotation, and the wheat pea. In the pea phase, he put 0, 20, and 40 kilo of nitrogen as start N. And the wheat received 80 kilo per hectare of nitrogen every year. So let's quickly look at the average yield of the 15 years average in Indian hand. That's the pea yield. You can see continuous pea is about 1773. Then the wheat pea and then pea yield is 2200. Wheat pea is 2400. That's ABC. That means statistically significant. So continuous pea do reduce yield by over 30%. But the 1 year break pea doesn't make much difference compared with the wheat pea. Now, what about the wheat yield? Well, wheat yield, you can see that A, B, that means the two A's, no difference. Continuous wheat and the pea wheat has no difference for wheat yield. But the wheat pea yield was significantly higher compared to the wheat pea or continuous wheat. And because we have starred N for 3 rate, that continuous pea, you can see the yield from 17 to 1800, they are not responding any of those starred N. So continuous pea, you don't need to put the starred N. But the pea grew after wheat, yes, put 40 kilo of nitrogen with that pea, the pea yield increased by 10%. So what this study showing that from Indian hand, of course, that thin black soil zone, intensification of a pea crop is possible with a 1-year wheat break because they didn't show any difference after 15 years. However, the GE has recognized that the wheat control remains a biggest issue in that rotation. He has struggled with the wheat control. And the disease, he did not find lots of issue on the disease. Now, I know this is a post-day conference, but because some question about the canola, I have a few minutes to talk about the canola. Can canola be intensified in rotation? Well, there was a study did in Milford and Scott from 1999 to 2007, so about 14 to 18 site year study. In that study, we have a continuous canola, no break. We have a canola every second year, every third year, and every fourth year. We have 2 different varieties. One is a blackleg susceptible variety. Another is a blackleg resistant variety in that trial. So just quickly look at that influence of rotation length on yield of canola. That's based on the 14 site year average data from Scott and Milford. You can see that from left to right, that's the yield of continuous canola, the wheat canola, wheat pea canola, wheat pea wheat canola. Then the 2 different bars are the yellow are the blackleg resistant variety, and the next bar are the blackleg susceptible variety. So based on the yield, you can see that yes, continuous canola will reduce the yield quite significant, regardless that variety are the resistant or the susceptible. So more diversified rotation system for canola do have a much greater the yield in canola. Particularly that's number 3, that's wheat pea canola. So it looks like 3-year rotation for canola will give you very good benefit on that. Now looking at the blackleg disease severity in that rotation system, on the top bar are the blackleg susceptible variety. You can see that with diversified rotation system for canola, the blackleg severity are significantly decline. And the same to that blackleg resistant varieties. Resistant variety overall has a very low rate of severity, but again, you can see that continuous canola has higher the blackleg severity than the more diversified rotation system. So this study has a little longer message to give us. So shorting canola rotations, we are pretty sure you will nurse fungi in the field. So even with the resistant varieties. So selectively grow the varieties with different resistant genes may be required. And that's for short-term rotation, the solution. But the longer term, for the best strategy for canola should look at 3 rotation system. One, rotation-resistant genes. That means you change the resistant variety every year. Then the rotation crop type, because different crop type give you different host for the fungi. And the rotation different fungicides, because fungicides can develop the resistant to that fungicide. So you rotating fungicide, you can slow down the pathogen insensitivity to the fungicides. With that, my time is just about up, so thank you very much.